In this lesson, we'll learn how to plan for and place text content into our brochure. Alright, so in the previous lesson, we've wrapped up placing some images into our brochure. Now, it's time to go ahead and start bringing in a different type of content, and this is going to be our text content. Now, there's a lot of different ways that we can work with text here in InDesign, and in this case, I'm going to go ahead and show you an external file that I have created with sort of some dummy text in it. Now, this is one method of working with text. Now, another method would be to just begin typing the text right into InDesign. Now, you could compose your story or your article or whatever you're working on and type it right into InDesign, but oftentimes you'll have a separate file, maybe that was even generated by another individual and they've passed it along to you to incorporate into the design. So I've got here this file right here. Again, just some dummy text, some real simple areas of type that we're going to plan for here in our layout. So let me go ahead and just close this document out. We'll say no to that. And we'll go ahead and show you the first way to bring this in. Now, just like images, there's a couple different ways. We can either place the file in, or we can actually drag it in from MiniBridge. So we'll go ahead and place the file in for this first side of our brochure, and then we'll use MiniBridge on the next side. Now, it's important to keep in mind that the type areas are just like any other type of content in your brochure. It's just another area or element to incorporate into your design. So just like we've incorporated these images onto modules or spatial zones within our layout here, we can actually plan for type in the same way, and it's going to have to add to the flow and balance of our brochure. So I tell you what, we could come over here and grab our type tool first, and we could draw in a frame here. Now, I mentioned here that pretty much everything in InDesign is going to live in a frame. So I've just used my type tool to draw a frame here. And if I go ahead and select that frame with my selection tool, you can see that it selects just like any other frame we've drawn. Now, because I didn't type anything in this, all it is a frame. The inhabitant of the frame really has yet to be determined. So anything could live in this frame. We could place an image in this frame. We could actually type into this frame. Anything could live in this frame. So I'm going to come in here now and let's choose File and Place. And again, you can hit Control D for that. That's a really good keyboard shortcut. Now, I've got a couple of Word files created, one for the inside of our brochure, one for the outside. And we'll go ahead and select this one for the outside right now. So I'm going to go ahead and check this Show Import Options, because this is one challenging thing about working with Microsoft Word files. Maybe they've been created by another individual. You never know what to expect, and to get that into a format that's easy to manage and format for you, the designer, in InDesign can oftentimes be challenging depending on what that file looks like in Word. Word is going to generate its own series of styles and looks to change the way that document looks like. So I tell you what, let's just go ahead and select this Show Import Options. We're going to get a different dialog than when we brought in our images earlier. Now, this one is the Microsoft Word Import Options dialog. So you can see here there's a lot of different options here, and I'm not going to go through all of these because frankly our document doesn't include all of these. Things like a table of contents, footnotes, endnotes. This type of dialog is meant to be all-encompassing for several different types of files that you might get from Microsoft Word. So this is a relatively short document. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here, though, is I'm going to make sure that under Formatting, it says to remove styles and formatting from text and tables. This will strip everything off of the text that Microsoft Word has applied as far as styles goes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And InDesign's going to go ahead and drop that text right into this frame here. Let me just go ahead and zoom in on that for you here. And you can see here that we have our style listed right here. That was the first of the 3 categories. Now, you may be wondering, well, what happened to the rest of that type? That document was fairly long, and it's not all there. So I want to direct your attention right here to this little red plus sign in the corner of this box. This indicates that there's overset text in this frame. It means there's more text than this frame can hold. So we need to either resize this frame and pull it down to show more of this text. Let me undo that here. Or we need to thread this frame to another frame. And that's actually what we're going to go ahead and do. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and click on this little red plus sign here, and you're going to see that we're going to get a loaded cursor that looks a little different than the ones we had when we were placing images. So right now we have the text that's overset from this frame loaded into our cursor, and now we can come down with this cursor and draw in a new frame. So I tell you what, let me go ahead and draw in a new frame right here. cover those two modules, that spatial zone right there. And you can see here there's the rest of our text. Now, notice that we still have a red plus sign down here in the corner. We'll actually work with that here in just a moment, but what I want to do is I want to show you what happened when we created this new text frame. I'm going to go ahead and turn on text threading, or make those visible here. So I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to choose Extras, and I want to show text threads. So when I do that, you can see here that a thread is connecting this first text frame that we've drawn to the second text frame. So the story within this first text frame is continuing on into this linked or threaded text frame that's down below. So let me go ahead and do that again. I want to go ahead and click on this little red plus sign here, load up my cursor with that overset text, and let's come in here and draw another frame. Let's put one right about here. And I'm going to draw that right over that module right there. And you can see here that we've threaded that frame into yet another frame. So we can continue to do this however many times we need to. Let's go ahead and click again here, and let's go ahead and draw in a frame right here. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and draw one more frame right down here. Alright, so again, we still have overset text here, and we have to deal with that, and that's partially because, let's go ahead and, I tell you what, let's double click on this text and take a look at it. Now notice here that when I double click on this text frame and select some of the text inside it, our control panel changes here. Now this is important to understand because you're going to be working with type quite a bit in InDesign, and knowing how the control panel operates when you have type selected is fairly important. So right now there's two different views for our control panel and the options we're showing. Right now we're under text view, so you can tell that because we have this little A button pressed over here. So everything that's displayed here is going to be formatting that's related to the text. Now there's also paragraph view. Now we can click over to that right here, and our options are going to change. These options all relate to the style or the formatting for the paragraph that we have selected. So let's come over here, and you can see here that the default typeface that's been selected is Minion Pro, and it's a 12-point typeface. So that's actually pretty large for a brochure, especially one that is being put out by an interior design company that focuses on contemporary design. So we're going to probably end up shrinking that down some. We can free up a little bit of space here by doing that. But let me go ahead and grab my selection tool here. I'm going to reformat some of these text boxes. Let's try and get this style portion up here and then the form portion over here. There we go. Now notice here, just by simply resizing this text frame here, it's allowing more text to carry up into this text frame. And right now, basically, just by resizing it, I've managed to separate these two portions of our document. But if we were to come in here and change the size of this text, it's actually going to allow more of this text that's in this frame below to creep up into here. So we're going to need to find a better way to separate this text from this text inside these text frames. So I tell you what, in the next lesson, we'll pick up where we're leaving off here, and we'll learn a little bit about break characters.